Hey, Chase here with Own Boise and Keller Williams Realty Boise, and I'm excited to bring you your market update through the end of April for Ada County. Now, I know this video is way too long for most of you. You will not watch the whole thing, so here's the top 3 things you need to know about this market. Number 1, inventory is still down 67% year over year. Number 2, we saw an increase in prices in 1 month of 3%. And the last thing I really want you to know is, obviously a lot of you realize, especially if you're a homeowner, that you're sitting on a lot of equity. We're going to talk in this video about your options and what you can do with that equity should you choose to do it. So stay tuned. All right, so let's get into those 3 things that you need to know. So number 1, inventory is down 67% year over year. So a couple things to keep in mind. Last year in April, something major happened. You might remember it was the beginning of the shutdown of the pandemic, and we actually saw inventory increase that month quite a bit. So we had 720 homes active in the month of April of 2020. And we saw that consistently drop. In fact, that was the highest point we had in the last 12 months. Well, fast forward to today, we only have 235 homes on the market through the end of April. So inventory is down 67% year over year. Now we'll start to see more of a normal market. It's not normal by any means, but more of a normalized market in terms of, you know, we didn't have that moment of the pandemic moment, the shutdown moment, where we really weren't able to do much. I suspect that's probably going to be about in July, because June we started to reopen about the middle of the month. That's when the governor released everything. So 67%. Well, what does that do? That puts pressure on pricing. If you've been watching these videos for a while, getting into our number 2 thing, we saw our prices jump 3%. Sold prices jumped 3% in the month of April. So at the end of March, our average sold price was $459,000. And now at the end of April, the average sold price is $461,000. We have less than, let's see, 1 month of supply all the way up to $1 million. And even in the million range, the 1 to 1.5 range, we have 1.8 months supply. In the 1.5 to 2 months, we have 1.9 months supply. And now we actually have over 9 months of supply in the over $2 million range. So, you know, if your budget's over $2 million, it could be a time for you to buy, maybe consider it a buyer's market. For those of you that your budget's not over $2 million, you're going to need to get creative in terms of finding the property. You know, hiring an agent and hiring the right agent has never mattered more than it does today. So be sure you're interviewing, you know, talk to someone with Own Boise as one of your options, not just your neighbor's dog's friend. Talk to a professional, interview multiple agents before you make your choice, and find out what value they're bringing to the table. Because if you're a buyer in this market, they need to be hustling, trying to find you properties that maybe aren't on the MLS, whether that's for sale by owner, or some off-market inventory, or just their own database of people who have indicated they might sell if the price was right. So be sure to talk to your agent and give us a shot as well. Make sure you interview us. We'd love the opportunity to earn your business. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about today is, obviously with prices as high as they are, highest they've ever been in the history of the world in terms of housing prices, you probably have a lot of equity if you own a home. I want to go over your options of what you can do with that equity. I was having a conversation with someone recently about different opportunities, what you can do with equity. This was specific to investment properties. They didn't necessarily realize that you can actually do a cash out refinance, take a certain amount of money out, and it's tax free. You don't actually pay any taxes on that when it's a refinance. So for those of you with investment properties, I would encourage you to call myself or, you know, one of your own Boise agent on this team and ask them about your particular situation, and obviously check with your accountant as well. But let's go into just the normal homeowner situation where I have a lot of equity And what should I consider doing with it? Well, there's a couple options. The first one is there's a home equity line of credit. So you can talk with your local bank or your local credit union, and they'll actually give you a line of credit up to a certain amount of the value of your home. For some banks, that's 80%. For others, it might be up to 90% is about the highest that I've seen. So let's just do an easy math here. If your property was worth $1 million and they gave you 90% of the value for a home equity line of credit, that would be up to 900 grand. Less obviously whatever you owe. Let's say you owed 500 grand. They would give you a line of credit for $400,000. You could use that for whatever you wanted, repairs, maybe paying off other debt because the interest rate on your home equity line of credit will be smaller. Pros and cons. The pros are it's very fast and it's pretty inexpensive to get it. The drawback is twofold. Number one, the rate can fluctuate. You know, one of the other pros is you only pay on it, by the way, if you actually withdraw. So you could have a $400,000 line of credit or a $100,000 line of credit, and if you don't use that money, you never pay any interest, which is nice. So going back to the drawbacks, the rate can fluctuate. So if rates rise, your rate on that home equity line of credit will go up. And then the last one that a lot of people aren't aware of is if there is an issue in terms of liquidity, where banks maybe need money for other things, they can take your line of credit and lower it at their choosing. So be wary of that. Now the second option is the cash out refinance option. So why would someone do this? Well, again, if you wanted to improve your property, maybe you need some money to do some improvements because the pandemic has had you looking at things around your house and you're deciding that now's the time to make a change. You could do that, or maybe you have other debts where the interest rate's quite a bit higher, and if you consolidated those debts and paid them off, your monthly outgoing debt would actually be cheaper and you'd be paying less in interest. So again, you might want to talk to one of us to help you walk you through that, or your financial advisor or your accountant, and really get some advice around that because a lot of people are taking advantage of this today. Something I want you to be aware of is if you do a cash out refinance, you are purchasing your home again. Let that sink in. You're choosing to purchase that home again. So the reason I say that is because a lot of people maybe aren't necessarily happy with the home that they're in. They'd rather live somewhere else. Well, if you're going to do a cash out refinance to pay off your debt, you can also consider the option of, well, if I don't like my home, why don't I sell it, take a portion of the equity, pay off that debt, and then go buy another home, and maybe my payment will be higher because I'll have less equity, but with the interest rate still being very low, it's better to have that debt paid off and be in the house I want. Now, we help people with this literally every single week. We have people that are looking to take advantage of this opportunity. If you want us to walk you through what that would look like for you, please just give us a call or reach out via email or obviously comment wherever you're watching this video. We would love to help you with your specific situation. And if nothing else, we'll just give you the information and then you can make the choice for what's going to work best for your world. So that's it for this video today. I hope you enjoyed it and we look forward to seeing you and working with you in the future. I'm Chase with Boise. Thank you so much for watching.